Black America TV. Today is the 26th of September, approximately 8 a.m. on the West Coast. And we got a lot to talk about. You know, we're going to put in an hour, and it is what it is. I mean, a mass exodus in the Democratic Party is pretty much like state property. Get down or lay down, because the individuals that are being exposed right now are individuals pretty much had the power of the Democrats and the power of American democracy on their side. And the decisions that they made have put them in a compromising position in situations. And we all what P. Diddy did. And there's videos surfacing that he was pretty much talking about starting a black party. You know, I've been checking my emails. I mean, you know, send me a check, bro. Trying to see what's going on. And it's not looking good, because if they make you, they could break you. If they make you, they could break you. Top of the morning. And listen, man, you know, every day is somebody. OK, P. Diddy, they got rid of him. He's in the, you know, pretty much about to start singing like a bird. And they are talking about he's on a hunger strike. And what it seems is that, you know, he's, you know, going through withdrawals when it comes to, you know, whatever lifestyle he was living. You know, a lot of people, you know, they live that lifestyle. They doing what they do. They get behind bars, and then, you know, you go through these withdrawals, and it's crazy, because who next? Who's next? And that's the question. OK, now, Mayor Eric Adams. OK, he went on record yesterday and at a press conference and said that he's about to be indicted. And I'm sitting wondering why the mayor of New York is going to be indicted, because during the Biden administration, you know, during COVID, you know, they was getting all that money. They was doing all of these things to be a part of what was going on. But like I said, if they could break you, because all of a sudden, Mayor Adams is under scrutiny. All of a sudden, the FBI is raiding his homes. All of a sudden, the FBI is pretty much looking to indict him. And all I got to do is pretty much, you know, put my mind together and realize that the reason why they're coming after, you know, Mayor Eric Adams is because he's been critical on the migrant situation in New York. He's been critical on crime in New York, who's a former police officer who became, you know, the mayor. So crime is a big thing. He's seeing the gentrification that was happening and taking place in New York. And now businesses are leaving the state due to crime. You know, Manhattan and these major, you know, these cities that was pretty much on an upward bound. And now, since the Biden administration have come into an office, and then now crime is pretty much at an all-time high. And then he was very critical on the migrant situation. So when you are, you know, riding with them, when you are on their side and they use all the funding and put the weight, you know, the big, you know, machine behind you, and you get elected, I think, you know, you need to start thinking twice if you're going to flip, because they see this as, you know, not only a slap in their face, but they see this as something that, you know, like a stab in the back. You know, they put you in office, they put you in power, and you're not going to play the game the way we want you to play the game. And it is crazy, and it is sad, and it is heartbreaking, because a lot of these individuals that's going down, you know, in the black community, there were rock stars. OK, you couldn't say anything about Pete, regardless of what he was doing. You couldn't say anything about Mayor Adams during the pandemic and being the mayor of New York. And now, and all of a sudden, these individuals are coming down every single day. There's another one down. And a lot of these record executives are resigning. There's a whole lot going on. So you're going to know who's playing the game, and you're going to know who's have friends in high places, because if you have a friend in high places and something happens, they'll accept your resignation. Just like 5 of the top record label moguls have basically resigned. And pretty much, I think that probably will be the slap on the wrist for them, because they're going to flip. They're going to say and talk anything that they need to talk about. So it is what it is. So but you become their enemy. If you start, you know, talking out and speaking out like Mayor Adams did, if you start doing what Puffy did, regardless of his background, there is documentation saying that he wanted to fund, a black party, put money behind it, and he said he was going to actually pay for it in this thing. So they already in these comments, like maybe because he committed a crime, bringing justice makes the case after Trump for his election donations comes. Yeah, you're right. But just understand, in America, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. All politicians play that game. It's a dirty game. Politics is a dirty game. This is why we need to move away from it and look at it just crumble, because American is a dirty game. So they all play this game. But just think about individuals that have, our elected officials, that, been not only charged, but, suspected of doing things allegedly, but for some reason, they never get arrested. They never get indicted. So it is what it is. So we really got to understand, what happened, because I believe they all do, these strange things. Because if he was playing the game about it, Mr. Scenic, just think about it. If he would have on record and supported Kamala Harris, in the South, they call it Kamala. But if he went on record and supported her, got behind her, do you believe in your heart that these things would have happened? I don't think so. That's just my personal, opinion. And just like with Sean P. Diddy Combs, if he would have allowed the Harris administration to use the voter campaign, in which he copywrote, in which he owns the rights to it, it'll put the voter die behind it. He will still be with Revolt. She would be on Revolt doing, interviews and all types of things. But he was waking up and trying to remove himself, because he realized that the Democratic Party is not for the American people. The Democratic Party is for, the powers and principalities and evildoers behind it that funds it. So he went on record on the Breakfast Club talking about reparations. Puffy, I'm talking about P. Diddy. He went on record talking about helping and funding, the black activist movement, putting cash behind the reparations organization. I was checking my emails because, like I said, my brand is a better Black America. And I saw him in an interview with Charlamagne the God, and I'm sitting back like, man, he must be paying attention. So I think he's going to, support. And then all of a sudden the Cassie video dropped. And then after that, he didn't pivot. He continued to double down and, live his life. And then here you go. He's now behind bars on suicide watch. And basically, some of the guards are speaking, coming out and saying that he's through withdrawals because, he has to be drug free behind bars, at least for now. And I've seen with P. Diddy, no pun intended. And I've seen videos when they, he's in there with R. Kelly, don't drop the soap and all that. Puffy with the shim sham. So Puffy probably be like, turning up. So it is what it is. So Mayor Adams, think about it. He spoke out against the migrant crisis, spoke out against crime. He spoke out against a lot of these things. So, things don't happen by coincidence. Okay. All things have a purpose, and it's clear that the powers that be was not happy with him because, like I said, if you don't have any dirt on you, they don't even put in the game. If you don't have any dirt on you, you're not a good hire or a good person to support, because you can't flip the script if they're going to put their money. So Mayor Adams was crucial, talking about the migrants, about crime. And that's totally goes against the Democratic Party. And like I said, P. Diddy was talking about starting his own, record label. I did know Black America, and we're all a part of Black America, which is Black, Asian, Caucasian, Kismet. We just basically in our own lane. There's a BOLO. And a BOLO is be on the lookout for Steve Harvey. If you did not know, he dated P. Diddy. If you did not know, there's pictures surface and video surfacing of Steve Harvey hanging out with Puffy, letting this, older man date his young daughter. They're on with Marjorie and all of this. But all of a sudden, stories is coming out that Steve Harvey is nowhere to be found. And allegedly, and like I said, I can't confirm this, allegedly, he pretty much left the country the same day that, Puffy was arrested. So the chips are falling. And Steve Harvey pretty much, made Harris look bad at the Essence Bowl when he said, I'm not going to give her any hardball questions. This is not what we do. I'm going to give her something easy for a slam dunk, because he know her communication skills are off. He knows that, that's not her lane. Okay. She's in resume, but she's not a good public speaker. She's not a good leader, but she's an amazing employee. I got to give that to her. But in the sense of leading the free world as executive in chief, who pretty much runs no, it's not going to happen. And this is why there's a Democratic mass to this, not only of free and independent voters, black men and black organizations and black groups, but in a sense of, individuals that really would support Democratic parties, would promote. But there's nobody endorsing the Harris administration. There's nobody coming out. And when Taylor Swift pretty much jumped out, he who laughs last laughs best. He jumped out. It pretty much not career suicide, but she took a hit. There's upward to 30 to 40 million of her followers on Instagram. She lost. Her team is announcing that $125 million in brand deals came off the table. And Travis Kelce, he's having the worst season in his career. He has only 8 catches with 44 yards, and that's for the season. Okay. In the last game, she wasn't there. He was looking, so he's pretty much been caught up. So it's the Kamala Harris effect, and it's literally, she's trending in the wrong direction. There's no pathway to victory. So the Democratic Party, so I'm saying is to God's people, to regular human beings who wants to see something different, understands that all parties come to an end. So party over. So now let the ship sink. Let's, regroup and whoop, whoop, and start something anew moving forward, because there's no way we can actually continue to operate on this broken axle, because it's crazy. And I'm in the comments, and that Diddy and Meek Mill video was crazy. I mean, we understand what they needed that all that baby oil and lube for. It's actually sick. It's actually sick. And for black men to step out and have a conversation about things like this, it hurts the Democratic Party, because, like I said, I study this. I watch, debates and, joint houses of Congress and all of this. And during the Trump administration, when they were confirming or affirming the Secretary of State, Cory Booker, the New Jersey congressman or the New Jersey senator, went on record and pressed a Republican and was asking him multiple times in Congress, was gay sex perverted? Absolutely, Corey, it's perverted. Okay, so you can see the gay card that they have to pull. Either you have a wife, you live the perfect life, but if you're single like Cory Booker, and other individuals, you got to play that gay card, because that's the operation that funds it. Okay, and there's no disrespect to people who live that lifestyle, but just because what you do don't mean we have to accept it. And for us to be making amends with God and trying to change our lives and do things differently, then this is what we got to do as a people, because this is a beautiful nation that we live in. And it's one under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So there's no way we can continue on this broken axle, what we call a duopoly in these United States of America. We got to come together as a people, as one race, which is the human, and come up with laws, measures, and bills that will be constitutional amendments, which will be, something beautiful for everybody. Because like I said, Harris is not the answer. And the biggest threat to, and I've seen this in the blogs, and, I agree with it heartedly, the biggest threat to American democracy is Kamala Harris. And we're calling it the Harris effect, because it's like the powers that be, they want a regime change and nation build. That's what they do. They build and destroy, just like, they build, atoms, they puffy. And now, look, they're destroying them now because they're not, operating or doing or saying what they're, want them to say. And that's a form of high price slavery. So when when they make you, they could break you. But the biggest threat to American democracy is Kamala Harris. And when I say American democracy, I mean a two-party system. There shouldn't be a two-party system. After the Civil War, that should have been it. After the Civil War, it should have been under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's what it just should have been. Now, they extended slavery. Andrew Johnson He pretty much, the vice president for Abraham Lincoln was the Dixiecratic Southerner. B. Johnson did the same thing with Kennedy. They pretty much doubled down. Let me see here. Dallas Cowboys versus New York Giants tonight. Okay, who wins? Oh, well, I got to go with the, let me see here, New York Giants, because Dallas is pretty much, they got to show me something. But let me see, or a comment. What I believe is that if he hadn't done anything to begin with, there would be no smoke from a fire. I totally agree, but you got to understand American politics is dirty. And this is a comment from Scenic. American politics is dirty. There's not one elected official out there that's clean. We thought Obama was the one, but Obama had a hidden agenda, because Obama did what? He didn't champion the race that he associated himself with, or the race that put him in office, who voted overwhelmingly for him. He pretty much championed the LGBTQ community, because these are the individuals that was supporting this campaign, and he had to do. And now he's pretty much out of sight, out of mind. If you talk to Obama do not even say vote for Harris. He pretty much say vote and go in there, use your constitutional right, but vote for the individuals that support your personal position and where you are in life right now. This is what Obama says. He did not endorse Harris at all, but he's playing the game the way he's supposed to play it. If they tell him to pull up, if they tell him he has to go to the Democratic convention, he has to do that. But when you hear Obama have conversations off the record, he's clearly not endorsing Harris. He's clearly saying, as an American, vote for your position. And we know Americans, if not all, majority of Americans have an issue with the economy. So if there's issues with the economy, then the party that's in charge right now has something to do with the economy. And if you didn't know, Harris did a Kamala Harris from the Dirty South. She did an interview with MSNBC, and it went south real fast. The moderator or the interviewer was sitting back saying, really, that's going to happen. It was cringy. It was heartbreaking. And it was, clear that she does not have a plan. She has talking points. And at one particular part of the conversation, she was having an eyebrow conversation, and she sat back and said, wait a minute. Okay, 1 minute, like pointing to her ear. So y'all pay attention. I can't confirm this, but look at those pearl earrings that and look like she, have a little headset going on, which is okay. If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end of the day, we need policy. We need a pathway to your plan. We need, the 5 W's: who, what, where, when, why, and actually how. But she's just pretty much talking and saying, what she's going to do. But out the gate in that MSNBC conversation, the first question was asked. There's individuals in the world, that, are supporting Trump. What is your, what do you want to say to those people to get them to maybe swing your way? And she just went and dropped the ball out the gate. And then when you look at the trends, a lot of people jumped off with 5 minutes of conversation. And you're talking about a presidential candidate. You're supposed to be engaging. You're supposed to be prepared. You're supposed to have a plan. So clearly she does not have a plan for America. She has some talking points. But at the end of the day, you are in charge right now. And it's been 4 years in the mission that you are a part of. You have a lot to do with what's going on. So a lot of people are jumping ship and just going to let the chips fall where they may. As a black man, as a freedman, as a nonpartisan independent, like I said, I say this every day. I'm going to be voting third party. I'm going to be writing in Jesus Christ. And, my goal and my purpose and my hashtag black job is to convince individuals to do the same. So if you are never Trump or never Harris, go ahead and write in Jesus Christ so he can actually trend on election day. OK, and we can actually have a little power to have a conversation, and we'll be declared nonpartisan independence. We'll be what they call the remnant. And no matter who's in office, if Trump wins, we'll pull up and talk to Trump. If Harris wins, we'll pull up and talk to her, because as American taxpaying citizens, we need to have a voice outside of the duopoly, the two-party system. And if you're black, Latin, or, one of the minority groups, it's time to abandon the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is literally having a mass exodus, and it's not only anti-God, it's anti-American. Think about it. Think about the powers that be that's pretty much running behind or powering the Democratic Party. These are globalists. These are, on a global scale. These are individuals that got enough money to pretty much shift the world because they want this to be a one world order. So the only way that this happens if they infiltrate a major political party, in which they have infiltrated the Democratic Party. And this is why they're willing to pay individuals in countries like Iran. The data has come out, pretty much got a hit on Trump. And that's a part of national security. So would, a foreign nation want to assassinate Trump? Oh, because the Biden administration gave them $6 billion, released it, and left Afghanistan. And now they out there, party, doing what they're doing. And I've heard Trump say on times that they were broke. But now under the Biden administration, they doing what they, and they're working in cahoots with the United Nations. They're working in cahoots with, the United Nations. They're working in cahoots with the Democrats. And now the information is starting to come out into what's really going on and what's, happening in the world. And these are just grand distractions like Puffy or P. Diddy, Mayor Adams, the Bolo, be on the lookout for Steve Harvey. These are just grand distractions. Okay. These are grand distractions because if you paid attention to the global news, Israel is plummeting. They are plummeting. I mean, bombs are dropping. Hezbollah. Okay. And if you didn't know, they even bombing Lebanon now. So it's actually expanding. And who's funding the operation? The American Democratic Party. Okay. Joseph Biden is on record saying that he is a Zionist. Kamala Harris, if you're from the Kamala Harris, is married to a Zionist Jew, which is a part of a global white supremacy group and organization. Think about that. So the revolution will be televised. We got to have these conversations. So I'm saying is, and what I'm suggesting is, let's, bow out. Okay. Let's tap out. Okay. Let's not support. We got to show the Democratic Party as a whole. And like I said, I'm not a MAGA. I'm not none of that. I'm not promoting that. I don't have nothing to do with that. But I'm saying is this operation that's going on, the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow, the party of the segregated South, whites only, the party that has a sitting president who wrote the 94 crime, three strikes and you out, the female who promoted it and then came back and said that they made a mistake. And that's Hillary Clinton. And she went on record that, black men are super predators and need to be brought to heel. And then her husband signed a bill into law. And then when you sit back and say that there is no bipartisanship in Washington, the bill passed in the Senate 94-6. So 94 individuals voted for the 94 crime bill, Republicans and Democrats. And even Al Gore added it was 101 votes. Usually the vice president typically is the deal, but he wanted a piece of that. And then what happened? The major investments in the federal prisons, the major investments in, the state prisons, the major investments, three strikes and you out, court judges and what did it? It was genocidal in the black community. And we still have not recovered. There's individuals right now that's trying to get out of jail today, locked up on a misdemeanor charge. And that was their third strike because of the laws that the Democrats put into play. So when I talk to black people and have a conversation, it just shows that, we're delusional, uneducated, and we are being played. OK, so this is why the brand for me is black, because black is integrity. And it's an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian kinship, meaning we're bringing the human race together, because Dr. Leakey and all the anthropologists will tell you that, the first human fossils was born on the continent of Africa. And the first human fossils that was born is in a museum in the Smithsonian. And her name is Lucy. OK, in Central Africa. OK, that's where all humanity came from. So now we know why we're a threat to the, non-melanated Caucasus Mountains people, which is the Caucasians. Now we know why we're a threat to the Mongolians, to the Asians, okay? Because they know that all humanity came from us. I have a nephew who's blind, okay? And they call that an albino, okay? But can you get white people to make a black albino? No. To get the kinky hair? No. So we understand it. So moving on, we got to let them know that we know that they're playing a game, 2 split sixes going against a 9 series. So you got the bronze medalists and the silver medalists fighting and making sure that there's a certain group of people that don't be championed. But this here election, with the power of God on our side, as our write-in candidate, we're going to show the world and show our God that his name is a name above every name. Because I was sitting back trying to figure out what name I'm going to put in. My mail-in ballot is coming soon. What name I'm going to put in? And I started seeing, images, like I'm figuring out and in the scripture, name above every name. And it hit me. Because if you didn't know, in 2020, I was trying to tell you to vote for me when I actually still got 48 screenshots of individuals who wrote my name in, even my own mama. I called, who did you vote for? She said, you fool, because I just have a vision and I believe that there's no way we can support the Democratic Party because it's actually a sinking ship. They extended the party for over 150 years, but now party over, because clearly if you don't support them, they can't cover you. But if they cover you, you can have your freak offs. You can have a life baby oil and lube. You can buy $60 million mansions in Beverly Hills section in the state of California, which is pretty much around the corner, boy mansion. And if you want to pretty much continue and die and live a good life, do what Hugh Hefner did. Do it till the wheels fall off. Don't get an epiphany and try to change up. Don't sit back and say, I'm going to help my people now. Clearly Puffy is an example of that. Okay. He's the example of that. Mayor Adams is an example of that. Okay. And now we got to be on the lookout for Steve Harvey, because they're saying that allegedly he has left the country. And I want to know why. And then you Google Steve Harvey. All you see is pictures with Steve Harvey, his wife, Marjorie, his family on a yacht with Puffy. And Puffy is pretty much in a relationship with Steve Harvey's daughter. So clearly you didn't been to them Diddy parties. You didn't did what you do. You can't have 10 shows and not be compromised. Let's understand that. And then when you think about celebrities in Hollywood, what happened to Twitch? The DJ that was with on Ellen, and all of a sudden, he supposedly committed suicide. It's like, was he trying to flip? Was he trying to change life? So this is what I'm saying. We got to really turn the light all the way on, because if they make you, they could break you. And just like in the biblical, sense, because like I said, the Bible is a book of politics that contains religion. So when Jesus was on that mountain, the devil came for him and said, I'll give you everything if you follow me. And Jesus said, away with you, Satan. It is wrong for you to tempt thy God. So it is what it is. So I'm just saying, as individuals, we got to be honest with ourselves. There's a mass exodus of this party. This is a sinking ship. This is the Titanic. And individuals who aren't smart, who aren't wise, and who are not free mentally, and that will support the party just because. Now, and I'll be on Facebook and I'll be doing my posts, and an individual asked me, so since you're anti-Harris, so that makes you pro-Trump? And I said, absolutely not. First of all, I'm not anti-anything. I'm pro-God. So I have decided that the Democratic Party did not put a candidate that would actually, me to go to the poll and motivate me to select that individual. That's the Democratic Party's fault. So the Democratic Party to fill it. In the state of California, the Black activist movement, they are in, and they're going to be writing in Jesus Christ. Okay. And if they don't write in Jesus Christ, they're going to be with the third party coalition, because the mass exodus is in full effect. Black Lives Matters has abandoned the Democratic Party. They asked how he was saying, well, there's other chapters, but why is it that one of the major founders of Black Lives Matters is a VP candidate on an independent ticket with Dr. Cornel West, and that's Dr. Melina Abdullah. Lives Matters is done. Just think about how those sisters pretty much came into fame and then used them with the George Floyd situation and all of these things happened. Think about that. They just used them. And then when they started spending money, buying homes, they ridiculed them. They did the thing to them females that they're doing to Mayor Adams, P. Diddy, and right now it's about to be Steve Harvey because he didn't endorse Harris either. Because it's hard not to talk about what's really going on in this world. Regardless, it's not the flesh and blood. It's powers, principalities, evildoers in high places. It's our lifestyles, how we're living, the economy. Okay, when you double down on abortion as a party, an average individual that, especially a female or a male that's their kids, they're empty nesters, that don't resonate with us. And then when you are asked the question about the economy, you want to just sit back and talk to us like we stupid. I watched the MSNBC video from her whole interview, and the interviewer asked her about the economy, and she basically threw Donald Trump under the bus. And I basically went to Forbes to look up because I knew what the truth was. The economy was booming. He took what Obama did and he took it to a whole nother level. And like I said, I got to call it how I call it. Okay. I'm not a supporter. I'm not a mag. But like I said, the economy was booming. And then COVID hit. We shut down the world. So Harris said, oh, well, he had under his administration was the lowest job loss in American history since the Great Depression. Well, we did have a situation like the Great Depression. And when you look up the data, in 2020, in February, the GDP was on point. Unemployment was at an all-time low. And it said on Forbes in 4 decades that the economy hasn't been as well. So a lot of people in these conspiracy theories, this is why they say, it was a pandemic, because if they didn't stop the trajectory of America becoming great and America becoming the leader of the free world, then the Democrats wouldn't have nothing on. They would have nothing to stand on. So it's what you call build and destroy. It's like in in war times, you go into there, you get a dictator out, and then you put your dictator in, the one that you want. And it's called regime change and nation building. So build and destroy, regime change, nation build. So they pretty much regime change, took the Trump administration, now put in the Biden administration, and they destroyed was built. And we still have not, post coronavirus, still have not gotten back to that position right now, because under the Harris and Biden administration, the GDP is through the roof. Our spending is through the roof, and they don't have a solution to fix it other than saying talking points where, interview, holistic, and I believe. And they ask her about the American citizen. And then she's talking about 50,000 to tax breaks for newly business for startups. $50,000 tax break for startups. That sounds good to an individual, and to an individual who don't know no better would think that you get $50,000 to start a startup. No, if you are a startup company, she's basically suggesting that she will give you a $50,000 tax break. So if you got a business and you're a startup, and how long does a startup? Is it 1 year, 2 year, 3 year? So for the first year of your business, you'll get $50,000, but it doesn't make sense on paper, and there's no pathway to actually making that right. And then here's another thing why we as individuals, they're playing with our head. We got to get out of that Democratic Party, because listen to this, though. Listen to this. She said under her plan in 4 years, please listen to this. This is serious. And like I said, I'm not a Republican. I'm a registered Democrat. OK, so this is why I'm harder on the Democrats, because, they have been hurting my culture, since its existence. But we got to call them out, and let them know that we're smarter than they think we are. This is what Harris said. Under her administration, to help with the cost of living and to help with what's going on in the world, she said she's going to, in her first term, build 3 million homes. Think about that. 3 million homes. Chicago, Philadelphia, Houston, these are cities that 3 million people. So you're talking about building 3 million homes. And this is what Kamala Harris says. And she wants us to believe that that's actually possible, feasible, or reality. It doesn't even sound right. Think about 3 million homes. Think about that. You got cities that don't even have 3 million people, but she says under her first administration, first term, she's going to build 3 million homes. Where are you going to build those homes? Where? It takes 3 months to 6 months to build a home in a climate to where you don't have the 4 seasons. It takes manpower. So if you're going to build 1 million homes, do one person build a house? So you need more than 3 million people to build. Think of it. It doesn't make any sense. And this is why I need y'all to investigate them earrings, because they're saying they're Bluetooth earpieces. Because I think they just say stuff just to resonate with the lowest of the lowest and the dumbest of the dumbest people. You're the individual that, you know, your party has literally destroyed this country. Before the pandemic, gas was on average $3.13 in some places and $2.15 in some places, up to $2.50 on average. I'm talking about a national average. And now $5. So it has skyrocketed over 100% because we don't produce no energy. And then when you talk about the tariffs are for American companies that want to go to another country for cheap labor and then sell the products in America to make a profit. This is why they need to give those American companies subsidies and tax breaks to build here in the United States. If you sit down and have a conversation, it all makes sense. But we sit back and want to argue and debate and, you know, she better than him and all that. This is why I take to social media, why I take to YouTube, because talking to black people in these days and times is very frustrating, because it's like they're living in the land of the lost. It's like they're land of the lost and they don't have no clue of what's going on in the world today, you know, and we really got to understand as Americans, okay, that the truth is the truth. OK, so if we start challenging them and start questioning everything, being careful for everything, then maybe they will come correct and have answers to the questions, solution based. My whole purpose of doing what I do on A Better Black America TV, we seek solutions and resolutions to create a better America for all. That's a hell of a, campaign, for individuals that want the world to change. And just like the Harris administration, I mean, if y'all listening, watching, run me 1.5 million, I help her, okay, to at least make it seem like she's making some sense. Because when you sit back and say that you're going to build 3 million houses, you're going to need 3 million people to do that. And approximately any house in terms of the framing, the cementing, the electricity, plumbing, matter of fact, just to even find out where you're going to build the house, it takes upwards to 25 to 50 people for one project that have their hands on a particular project. So it's literally impossible. It sounds good, but it's impossible. And I sat and watched her and heard her say on the MSNBC interview, the recent one she had, and it was gut wrenching. It was just, it was disheartening. She said, just going to say this, and I'm just being fair, that Donald Trump has no plan for the working and middle class. Okay. Remember, no tax on tips. That's working class. Okay. And he put out a mandate. Okay. And I'm just calling like I see it. If I was watching the Laker game against the Clippers, LeBron just scored, the Clippers are, I don't have no skin in the game, but I just got to let you know what's going on. His latest one, no tax on overtime. And he said that speaking to union members in Pennsylvania, no taxes on overtime. So those are wage earners, wage earners. So no tax on overtime is for anybody that has a job that's working class and middle class. They asked Harris about a question and she was like, the billionaires got to pay their fair share. Billionaires do not have a earned income. They don't have an earned income. When you sit back and say, oh, they don't even pay taxes. Okay. When you do your taxes and you say earned income, if you're a wage earner, that's where you put it. A rich person, a billionaire, somebody making over $500,000 plus, they have, investments, stocks, bonds, okay, residual income from business investments and things of that nature, venture capitalists and all of that. That's why they want the capital gains tax to go away. So, they don't check that box. When you sit back and say they need to pay their fair share, it doesn't make sense. Okay. We have to be, unadulterated, focus on the working and the middle class. Okay. And by default includes everybody, all y'all, black, white, Asian, Chinese. It don't matter what you are. Okay. But if you're talking about less taxes, that's beautiful. And that's a, Republican thing because the Democrats want more taxes. Okay. If you're talking about no tax on tips, that's meaning anybody that's working as a waitress or driving service or whatever you're doing, because those tips do add up. And then if you are a 1099, you got to, file those taxes and then you get hit with those taxes. Okay. And then the no tax on overtime. I know I'm not the only one who put in some overtime and said, looked at that payroll check and said, wow, they got me for almost $800 just on a pay, just this week alone. Just imagine how individuals will be going back and saying, you know what? I don't want to work salary, sir. I'll believe me, I'll work an hour because that will be beautiful. And I looked it up on the tax commission and I looked on some websites to see what was going on. And they were basically saying that it will hurt the economy. But one thing that they don't understand, that they can actually make it up in consumption. They can make it up in consumption. Talk about the Republican side, and I'm not saying no names, do not stand for the working and the middle class, then that is specifically right in your face. No tax on your overtime. So you firemen, you policemen, you nurses, you teachers, you construction workers, anybody that goes and punches a clock on a 9 to 5. So anytime that you work over 40 hours in a work week, it's billed at 150% or time and a half. That. And that's a beautiful thing. And I guarantee you, it wouldn't be hard to, if you're a scheduler, to find people to work that overtime, because a lot of times people say, I don't want to do the overtime because it's going to tax me on a higher tax bracket. So because like I said, I've had a $48,000 a year job and we pushed it over 6 figures with overtime. So I understand that's a working class and that's a benefit for the individuals that's putting that work in. So we got to be totally honest with ourselves, because the Democratic Party, is the party of slavery, the party of Jim Crow. And I'm going to just throw this one in, the party of the freak-offs. Yeah, that's Hollywood, baby. That's Hollywood. Okay. Puffy's arrested. Steve Harvey got a bolo out issued by the black community. Where's Steve Harvey? The black mayor, Eric Adams, is being indicted. Why? They can make up anything, but just think about, these elected officials that was pretty much financed, their campaign was financed to put him in office to arrest Trump, the George Soroses and, those individuals, because Letitia James, the attorney general, I forget the other guy, Alvin Bragg. Okay. They're doing what they're told to do. So if you do what you're told to do and be a good boy, okay, you usually, can, live life. You can, float what you need to do. But when you are a man and you want to push back against unrighteousness, then you'll find yourself in a situation. And like I said, the smoking gun with Puffy was that he was starting to seek out, the black activist, and he was talking about, and he went on record in an interview that just surfaced with Charlamagne the God, we need our own party, the black party. Same thing Cube was saying. And Cube just did a concert in like one of these casinos out here in LA. that I know was streaming it. And one of the things that he said, me or Dub C ain't never been to a Diddy party, and the crowd went crazy because he knows a lot. And this is when he went on record, with the black plan and all of that. And what you guys do, the black community destroyed him. They use us at us because we are delusional, and they're saying, and I'm just going by statistics, they say any man that supports the Democratic Party, saying 90% of them are gay, and then the other 10% are beta males hiding behind their women, pushing an agenda that's totally against their own people. So this is why, we got to sacrifice the African American. You could have that ethnicity because, two continents don't mix. Okay, we are, as a people, if you look at our history, we was, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. And we're bringing in all the individuals that believe in God, okay? Because black is an acronym for Black, Latin, Asian, Caucasian kinship. We're bringing this thing together because we got to champion the black race in racism in this nation, because there's only one race, and that's the human race. So the biggest threat to democracy is Kamala Harris. And the reason they're Kamala, because when I look at these videos in the South, that's what they call her in the South, Kamala. Okay, now my name is Sean, Bouchon, and now I've no guys supposed to be like, what's up, Sean? I don't be like, no, it's Sean. I am who I am. So we got to understand the biggest threat to American democracy as we know it is Kamala Harris. And Willie Lynch said it himself, but he was wrong. Willie Lynch said, once we get the woman in the house with us, think of the slavery times. Just think of Massa, nervous. You got these big buck Negroes out there picking cotton, and they're plotting to come in the house and do some strange Massa. And just imagine, like Willie Lynch says, if you get the woman in the house with you, you could sleep, comfortable at night, because she will, sacrifice her life to protect her best interest. And that's her security. And she will do anything in her best interest to protect you. So now Willie Lynch got her in the house. But at the end of the day, even Janet Jackson is saying she's not black. And if you want to know a black family, look at the Jacksons. That's a black family. Afros from Gary, Indiana. That's a black family. You look at Kamala Harris' family. Look up some Hinduism news and Indian news. And, she's, Indo-Jamaican. So if there's any doubt of your racial makeup, then you're not, okay? When you look at me, you see a black man, Negro, bam. I don't have to explain. And if you sit back and say, well, your mother, I wouldn't even waste any time because I know who I am. But when you don't have, a truth to stand on, and you need people to lobby and fight for you, then when in doubt, then it's a no-go. So in a sense of putting her in a position, first of all, picking her to be the VP, and then somehow sliding her in without a democratic way to do it, and just put her in there and just replace her with just cutting and pasting, is not resonating because she is not the one. She is not the one. If you can't sit back and have an educated conversation, if you can't go on national television prepared, the first question asked on that MSNBC interview, she stumbled out the gate. You need to be prepared. So I'm gonna help the administration, and y'all, Harris, y'all send me some bread in that Cash App, money sign Bouchon Glover. Listen, practice the 4 Ps. Preparation prevents poor performance. Preparation prevents poor performance. When you're rolling up to these events, practice. Think about it. Don't just sit back and that's not presidential at all, sister. Okay, I'm saying that in a low regard because of your career as a prosecutor, and we all know that. Okay, your job was to lock up. That was your job, and comes to find out that you had probably one of the lowest ratings when it comes to winning prosecutorial cases. This is why the ones that you won, you got over 10 class action lawsuits against you for information, for suppressing information. And there's individuals walking out with 10 and 15 and another one with $16 million settlements in the city of Oakland. And you come from a city in which you're supposed to love. Why the Oakland A's leaving Oakland? You couldn't do nothing about that. The Raiders left Oakland. You couldn't do nothing about that. The crime is at an all-time high, but you will sit back and tell people, oh, crime's overall down. And that's a lie. That is a lie. So the border czar is going to go down to the Bay. the second time she's ever been down there, but she's been in office for approximately 4 years, almost going on 4 years. It's the fourth year, and it's crazy. But this Democratic exodus is real. There's so many. They're saying that Trump more than likely will break the record in black votes this election. Like I said, my write-in, I'm third-party candidate. Join the party. We going to be covered by the blood of Jesus. We're writing in our Lord and Savior. But you have a lot of individuals from Chicago, from Houston, from Cali, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of brothers that work in these unions. Okay, and the Teamsters, the largest union in the country, did not endorse Harris because at an internal poll, and 68% of the Teamsters members said that they support Donald Trump. Think about that. Think about that. So it is what it is. So let me see here. What are you talking about? All black people don't look alike. After drop the black blood. Okay, American has defined it. Okay, when I say black, I'm talking about here in America, that's DJ. When I say black, I'm talking about the American black, not the melanated human being all over the world. Because if you did not know, and I do know that the world is melanated. Okay, from India to Africa, even Taiwan, Korea, all of that. But when I say black American, okay, transatlantic slave American, okay, traces our ancestors here in the United States from 1619, the Southern experience. I'm talking about that. So when I say that she's, or the black American experience, meaning she is the daughter of immigrants. Her father's Jamaican, biracial. Her mother is a full-blown red dot Indian from India. Not a Chicago hoe or a Navajo. Okay. So this is what I'm saying. She's an immigrant. Okay. So DJ, her experience is so different from our experience. Okay? My ancestors come from North and South Carolina, from Alabama, migrated to the West. Okay. Been through the South, segregation, the whole nine. Her people got here in the 60s at the end of the struggle. Okay. So this is why, you would say she says she's Indian. Okay, I got to go with what she says. And then she's not going to do anything just for black people. And a real, biological black person will do things just for people. Obama didn't do anything for black people. He did things just for the gays because he's gay. Facts. And this is why they get Puffy, because Puffy was going to do something just for his people, whether, freaky deaky, freak offs, whether he, we like it or not. But that is a black brother. OK, so it is what it is. And so what? And it's because it's trending. It's an issue. These are things, like I said, nobody's questioning my blackness. OK, so when they ask her about her racial, makeup, and she says, next question, it's because she's going to say her mother is a full-blown red dot India from India, and her father is a biracial Jamaican from Jamaica, okay, and from a plantation, Irish plantation, who migrated to the United States. So that's the point. That's the point. I'm saying when I say black American, when I say black, I mean black American, okay, from the South, the projects, the whole nine, tracing our history, segregation, the civil rights. Her parents did not experience none of that because they was not here, DJ. So I understand, and you are right. One drop of blood. And they used to say, you are what your father is until you have a baby with a sister and the sister hair is kinky. You're 100% right. But I'm saying the black experience, the Malcolm X black, the Martin Luther King black, the Medgar Evers black, the Fannie Lou Hamer black, you know what I'm saying? Black, not, a migrant. OK, and this is what probably why she, they made her the border czar to leave the border open, because she understands, immigrants. OK, now hopefully that helped you out, Jay. And I would love for you, brother, to hit that subscription, that notification. I appreciate you. Now, let me see here. CJ Taylor. Now, she should think twice, speak once, question, take a breath, answer, think, and don't speak or don't speak. 100% right. That MSNBC video. I watched it, man, and they asked her a question, and she'll sit back and look away. That mean like she got me. I don't know. They was asked a question. She was cringing, just. And then a couple of times she used her imagination, and I'm sitting back like, wow, this just does not make any sense at all. It does not make any sense at all. And, and what I'm saying, DJ is late to the party because she went to a black college. That's part of the black sorority. And I totally understand that. Okay. She has capitalized off the black experience. But what does she does for the Soros right now? What is she doing for Harvey University right now? Think about it, DJ. She's married to a white Zionist Jew man. Don't even have any biological children. So she used the black experience to become who she is. And she does not represent us at all. And that's fact. So I think you late to the party. I think you need to watch a couple videos over here, and watch the video that I did in terms of she's black, but not. OK, because like I said, by definition, she's Indo-Jamaican. OK, Indian and Jamaican. And she's born of two parents that was actually outside of the country. She experienced blackness because as a female of color. And yeah, she had to be down with us. But is she down with us now? That's the question. Career prosecutor, great resume. She did her thing. But in a sense of leading the free world with the gifts and gaffes and, the stories about being a functioning alcoholic. I mean, she doesn't, like I said, and if she is black, she ain't gonna get my. OK, because, she's every black folk ain't kinfolk. That ain't kinfolk. Now, if she had a black husband, OK, and she was talking about reparations and she was talking about things just specifically for black people and ending, the racism and the criminal justice system and all of that. Yeah, I would get that and understand it. But she's not for us. And I'm going to just share this with you, DJ. There's a difference between pimps and prostitutes. She's being prostituted by the check writers. OK, she did a podcast, or she was with some brothers, and I knew one of the guys there, and he was streaming it and I'm watching it on his phone. And she basically said that there's one type of supporter and then there's the voters. And she said, my hands are tied, but there's only one type of supporter, and those are the check writers. So she's promoting agenda for the check writers. Think about that. I mean, just because you went to a black college, the Central State University, OK, historically black college in Ohio, OK, know the history of it, the whole nine. We had two white players. One was a middle linebacker and one was a quarterback. And I believe the quarterback was Pika. And they were both on minority scholarships, bro. OK, white people do go to black colleges. When you watch Deion Sanders, when he was at Jackson State, he had a few white boys out there. So just because you went to a black college don't make you black. And just because you went to was in a sorority, and then you do know what them sororities, what they got to do, think about that. But when you're talking about an individual who's not a leader, who does not resonate with the people, who's not organized, who's not candid at all, can't even come off. And then now the rumors of being a functioning alcoholic and being drunk in some of these conversations are starting to come out now. And then the code switching, because remember, DJ, when she was trying to get that union vote, when the Teamsters didn't even give her their support or endorsement, she, code switching. We can't do it without a union member. See, we don't do that. We keep it 100. OK, and when the name not DJ, I hope you're a brother, but I hope you straight. OK, then we can have a conversation. But there's a difference between beta males and alpha males, because 90% is what they're saying of the Democratic Party. Black men are gay and 10% are beta males. So when a beta male is a black man who does not support his brother man, but he'll go on record and defend the sister, and more than likely they're either gay or, not masculine. OK, so hopefully that helped out, and I appreciate you. Let me see here. But that little girl on the bus, LOL, that was black experience. I mean, like I said, she experienced black. Like I said, I'm from LA. I've, remember the light skinned kids, and, they didn't look like us, but they happened to be with us. They happened to be around us. So they just by default experience. So this is why she talk about the greens and all of this. I'm like, hold up. Okay. And then you go on and show what it is. You know, my mother had all of these things and all of this and all, you know, so it's like, you know, hey, it is what it is, man. But like I said, I'm just here to let you know it's time to abandon this Democratic Party, jump off this train, because she ain't nothing. She ain't nothing, you know what I'm saying, but what they would call a industry plant. Okay. And I'm hoping, you know, none of these parties, you know, surface about her. But I'm going to go ahead and go on record, because remember these Juneteenth parties when she was, you know, dancing and, you know, had the brother next to Doug with the dress on and Biden was sitting there, Kirk Franklin gyrate the gospel music. You can imagine what's going on at the White House. You know, they found cocaine at the White House, reported it, put it in the docket, you know, made it national news, but nothing happened. Nothing happened. So I could imagine what's going on. And there's some videos surfacing of her, you know, drunk and belligerent, you know, and brought the black people that work in her little campaign or on her staff to her house. Welcome to the party at the VP's house. Drunk as a skunk. So this is who you want to be your president? A functioning alcoholic that can't even hold a sentence, that can't even have a conversation without those pearl Bluetooth rings on. And see, my thing is, if it's not, you know, Bluetooth, take them out. Take them out. Okay. And these questions that allegedly they're not addressing. Okay. So they know how to just act like these things don't exist. So one love to you too, man. I appreciate y'all. I really do. So like I said, there's a mass exodus in the Democratic Party. There's no way we could continue on this broken axle. And we're looking at, you know, them pretty much sacrificing black men. There's a black purge. Because somehow, some way there, you know, God is telling black men to stand down, because we realize, you know, it is what it is. And when you look at that Democratic Party and you take that word Democrat and you break it down to the root word, demo, demon, diablo, or devil in Espanol, okay, in Portuguese. So like I said, P. Diddy wouldn't let him use that voter die. He's done. Mayor Adams didn't want to endorse Harris, because an endorsement from the New York mayor, a career police officer, would have gotten the endorsement from the police unions as well. But he stood down. Now he's under scrutiny. There's a bolo out for Steve Harvey. We haven't seen him. You know, if you do see him, these are recorded shows and episodes, because allegedly, you know, Steve gonna have to check in, because they're saying he left the country the day Puffy was arrested. And we do know his daughter, Lori Harvey, was allowed to date Puffy. And videos are surfacing, you know, with them on the yacht hanging out with their shirts off, and Steve Harvey, Puffy, Marjorie, and the whole nine. And the biggest threat to American democracy is Kamala Harris. That's the biggest threat, because that's trending. She's sliding in the polls, and Trump is leading her in all the major polls. And if you think about it, post debate, Harris is leading Trump in the polls, and then all of a sudden now Trump leading. Oh, Trump has a small margin. Trump is leading Harris, but she's gaining traction. How you gaining traction? You coming down, man. This is crazy. So it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And they think that we're just, they don't think we too smart, but we calling it how we see it. So there's no way anybody in this world could build 3 million houses in 4 years. Okay, I'm going to build 3 million houses. They ask her about a plan for the economy. She wants to use her imagination and use charters. Well, I feel and I believe. Okay. And then she says the other is not for the working class or the middle class, but this man, doubled down on the notes on tips. And now he's promoting in his campaign, no tax on overtime. So you wage earners need to understand that. No tax on overtime. That's working and middle class, the wage earners. Okay. And that's a beautiful thing. And then when you want the rich to pay their fair share, rich can't pay their fair share because they're not wage earners. Okay. They don't have a payroll. Okay. When they do their taxes and when it says earned income, they put $1 because their money is in foreign, in oil and invents and all types of, things that's bringing in residual income. So they look at the capital gains and stuff like that. So, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Keep tapping and hit that notification. So when we go up, because, we're trending in the right direction. And hopefully we can have these conversations and just keep on moving on. Houses only the affluent can afford. And like I said, 3 million houses. Come on, that's not going to happen. These are just talking points, and they just want us to believe it. And then if she says that I will give $50,000 for your first home, that ain't nothing but a HUD loan. HUD been doing that for years, 3% down on the first time buyers program. Think about that. So it's time to challenge everything, and hopefully, the Harris administration will start, having conversations, talking about things that are realistic. But I truly believe that the ship is sinking, and anybody that will be supporting the Harris campaign based on the polls is pretty much in support of abortion with no guardrails. Yeah, abortion with no guardrails. 77% of individuals that will be supporting the Harris based on their poll is saying 77% is abortion. And on the Trump side, 68.8%. So you could say 69% is voting for Trump because the economy. And just understand the silent part didn't vote, the nonpartisan independents, the swing voters, the ones that don't vote in the primaries, don't do these, So I'm predicting there's going to be a bloodbath. So let's abandon the Democratic Party as a whole, write in our third party candidate, Jesus Christ, and let your chips fall. And whoever wins, we got leverage to end racism, to champion the black race and make it one race, and that's the human race. And in all this classism and all this bull crap, because when I read that Constitution, it says domestic tranquility. That means tranquil environment here in America. And it kind of resonates in my head like that Bible says, on earth as it is in heaven. With that being said, man, y'all have a beautiful day. This is your man Bouchon tapping out a Better Black America TV on YouTube. Peace out.